dudes, and welcome back to the Cowboy Catholics podcast, Let's Be Saints Awakened. I'm Cecilia Watson here with Andrew Birkin, and today, I know I say this every time, we have some special guests, but these are extra special this week. Can I have the honors of introducing one?
Well, I want to know why they're extra special.
Well, because one of them is my best friend, Kate Benoit, of course. Oh, and Dallas.
Me.
And Dallas.
Dallas
Dallas.
No.
So,
These people are extra special to me because I've known them for a while.
I haven't.
Oh, well.
I've known Dallas for a few years, kind of, sort of, and I've known Kate for the last almost 2 years. Almost two. It's definitely been over a year.
No, but it was definitely
like a year and a half.
Last fall.
Whatever. So we have Dallas and Kate. They're going to be talking about leadership, and we'll get into why later. Dallas, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Dallas Reeves. I'm a student here at McNeese. I study business administration. I'm a sophomore. And I don't really know how to introduce myself on a podcast.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Fair
cool.
enough. Kate.
Hi, I'm Kate. I am an early childhood education major at McNeese. Yeah.
Yay! We're very happy. Whoa.
Wow.
We're very happy to have you here with us today. I'm done.
Great. We're also recording this on Halloween. So happy Halloween, everybody.
Halloween.
You're not going to get this until after Halloween, but that's okay.
But just know, it was on Halloween.
It was on
Is
Halloween.
it All Saints Day?
Tomorrow is.
Yeah.
Happy All Saints Day?
Well,
Happy All Saints Day. I guess.
Today, when this comes out,
Is All Saints Day.
Yeah, true. Boom.
So, anyway, I kind of threw this on these guys last minute because just life gets in the way and poor scheduling on my part. But we texted them. We kind of talked about it before,
Yeah,
you know,
it was in the works.
and it was in the works, but not like it wasn't supposed to be this soon. No offense to you
I
guys.
was supposed to be on the Christmas special.
Oh,
That's great.
But
yeah.
so there's sort of a theme of leadership today.
There is. Okay, so leadership, and I'll explain. I decided to give these guys leadership because Dallas and Kate, as well as Cecilia, were all part of the diocesan core team. I had the opportunity and turned it down. I guess I would have known these guys a lot longer, but I was in Lake Arthur doing my own thing, living my life. So between the three of y'all, please explain what the diocesan core team is, how you each got involved, and then we'll begin.
I'll let our guest go first.
Oh, okay.
Alice.
I'm getting pointed at. So the diocesan core team is a organization that puts together retreats and events, and basically is the youth ministry arm of the diocese. It's also run by the youth of the diocese, by the high schoolers. All of us are no longer technically a part of core team, but we still participate in a lot of the events as young adult staff.
Cool. So jumping in to the questions on leadership, obviously, I feel like being a part of core team, there was a lot of leadership involved. I mean, stepping up and taking charge, being part of that core team, right? You had to lead other youths. So the first question that I had was, what does it mean to you to lead as a Catholic and as a Christian in general, but specifically towards the youth? What does it mean to lead the youth? Either of you can go ahead.
Go, Kate, go.
Eat the microphone.
I'm the oldest, so it's always about my younger siblings. And I've always been like, well, what are they going to think of me? And I want to be like the role model for them. Mm-hmm. So I always put them and not them in my shoes, but I always think of them when I'm doing things, and I think of who I want them to be,
Mm.
and so I try to be who I want them to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, I think one of the most important qualities that a leader can have in general is authenticity, but especially as it comes to youth and kids, they can sense when you're being inauthentic very quickly.
Mm.
And so it's important, sort of like how Kate was saying, it's important to be a role model, and in order to be a role model, you have to be able to show that this is how you should act all of the time, and this isn't just a front,
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, no, I can even tell you there were times in middle school. Thank you.
You have to eat the mic too, dear.
Okay. I could even tell you times in middle school where it was like being at a rally, and the best, like my best experiences, but like before I was on core team and making all these retreats and rallies that were run by them, my best experiences is where like the people that I encountered, like the staff members, like you could tell that they actually wanted to be there, and they actually enjoyed what they were doing, and which kind of given me the push that I needed of like, oh well, like I want to do that, I want to be able to do that, and to do it, like to be like them, and yeah, no, that was kind of similar for me for core team. I'm the oldest girl in my family, and so leadership was always something that I was always a quality that I had practiced and used, but I wasn't very good at it outside of my family, outside of my home. I wasn't very good at like putting myself out there and like leading in things when I knew that I should have been. Like I had plenty of opportunity to, and I just didn't have the confidence for it. Um, but I found that that really helped me, and I've learned so much from those 4 years of being on the team. Like it's crazy. And even just yesterday, Andrew and I were talking. We were talking to someone, and he had mentioned CLI. He was like a grown man in his like late 20s mentioned CLI, and I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, like these things like you take with you. Like they don't just leave after you graduate. So I don't know. I learn things all the time from it still. So yeah.
CLI is a 1 week camp that everyone on core team goes through, the Christian Leadership Institute. It does, yeah. It teaches a lot of valuable skills about leadership, about practical leadership, and not just the sort of surface qualities that a lot of people look for.
And it's not even things that are like just used in youth ministry or ministry at all. It's like you hear stories of men going to work and they end up using all these skills that we've learned there in their workplace.
Yeah. Or even I don't know, all the different ways that you can. One thing that I remember learning that I really enjoyed and found a lot of comfort in was like, learning all the different kinds of ways that you can be a leader, I guess. Just because to be growing up when it was like, oh, do you want to lead this? I thought it was like hopping on a stage in front of a bunch of kids and having to talk into a microphone. But that's not always what leading looks like. Like sometimes it looks like the person who's doing everything behind the scenes, or even just someone who's just praying for someone. Or yeah, like just all the different kinds of ways that you can be a leader, because the idea of hopping on a stage and talking to a bunch of people absolutely terrifies me. So I thought, oh no, I could never do that. Like I don't want to do that. I don't want to be a leader if that's what a leader is. But even going back to what you were saying earlier, that even just by being like an authentic Catholic Christian, just your example can be a form of leadership. Just by you showing like this is who I am, like truly beautifully, wonderfully made, and then by being that, you were being a leader. And so I don't know, I always thought that that was really cool. It was something that inspired me and still does.
Especially as Catholics, I hear often, and I try to tell others this often, is we lead by example, right? And I am in what's called discipleship. I'm sure in a further episode we'll discuss that more with one of our missionaries. But where I'm at in my discipleship is learning how to lead by example. More people respond to, how was it put? More people respond to that form of education, leading by example, rather than sitting in a classroom and taking notes or just hearing someone talk.
Absolutely.
To lead by example, we're not doing it in a prideful way because we think we're better than everyone else. We're doing it in a loving way because we want our faith to be recognized. We want to live out our faith so that other people can see that and desire that and live out their faith as well. So it's important, just as Catholics in general and Christians, to lead by example.
I think that leadership isn't in itself a quality. I think that leadership is a set of qualities. Leadership, if I'm going to try and put a rigorous definition on it, but it's not really rigorous. But leadership is like any quality that aligns a group of people or just generally others towards a certain goal. So, as a Catholic or a Christian leader, your goal, as a Christian, your ultimate goal is heaven. And therefore, any quality that would align others with that goal is an example of what a Christian leader is.
And what would some of those qualities be?
I mean, like we've mentioned, authenticity, but another good way of saying authenticity is like integrity. I think like you can. There are some like loose terms that you could throw around, but really any virtue is a quality that aligns people with the goal of heaven.
Fair.
And that was that was it. That was wrapped in the entire thing. Yeah.
We're done, guys. Tune in next time.
Mic drop. He brought virtue into it. That's the theme. Boom. I'm kidding.
So I wrote down in my questions, which I definitely 100% came up with myself. Right. Question number 4.
Yeah, you and your third co-host.
No name dropping. We talked about this. The fourth question that I had was, how do you handle situations where faith and popular culture clash, especially when mentoring youth? And what came to my mind when writing this question, because I did, was social media and how corrupt that is. And talking about leading by example, look at social media and all the bad that's on there. How can we help to, I guess, project a different, I don't know, I'm not saying that right. How can we
Try again?
Thank you. How can we turn the youth away from social media as their leader? I'm thinking like social media is so important, with air quotes, important in these kids' lives that they treat it as if it was God, right? They put it first, they put it above all else, and that becomes their leader. How can we help to shift that's the word I was looking for, shift their perspective off of that and onto what is important? That was kind of a lot. You understand the gist of the question? Yeah. Okay, take it away.
I feel like it starts with meeting them where they are. Because if you immediately go, like, this is what you need to be doing, this is what's happening, like, they're going to shut down. And they're not going to want to listen. And you just have to meet them where they are and form a relationship with them and form a bond to be able to know, for them to know that, like, it's love. It's coming out of love. And it's not me telling you what's right and wrong because I know best. It's I want to get you to heaven. And so you just have to come out of love and meet them where they are.
Yeah, you can't, like, when kids walk into a retreat. When kids walk into
Try again.
retreat, thank you. you can't just be like, all right, screenagers, like put your phone in the bucket.
Screenagers?
I don't know. I've used that one before.
I mean,
Like,
like, no, but if you did do that, I mean, well, first of all, not only they're moody teenagers, so they're
Yeah.
probably just gonna be like,
Mhm.
like make me, you have to be like, look, you have an opportunity at hand. Like you have to approach that topic with so much compassion. Just because I don't know, I grew up in a home where it was like that dang phone kind of thing, where everything has to do with dang phone, and so I never like I hated hearing that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So, but it wasn't until that I was approached, like someone came up to me and got on my level and was like, set it aside, like out of the like compassion and love in my heart of like, I want you to experience and really soak up this opportunity that you have right before you, and you're missing so many opportunities because you put this little screen at such, like you put it at such a high priority. Yeah, no, but it wasn't really until someone came and met me where I was that I was like, you're so right. But no, yeah, you have to approach that topic with so much compassion.
Yeah.
Especially because whoa, especially because it's only getting worse. Like the issue is only getting worse and worse. But
It's like look out here. This is where real culture is.
yeah,
Like the question is phrases like against popular culture, right? Um, and so I think it's about making a culture that's that's more desirable than the pop culture that's in front of them,
Right.
the fleeting, ever changing culture that's in front of them. What people really want is a sort of firm foundation, and that's what
Consistency.
culture. Yeah, it's what culture is for you, and culture is just sort of the values that people have in a given area, right? And so it's really about like having those values in the space that creates the sort of culture that you live in, and that's far more appealing than um, the sort of watered down culture that is spread through social media.
Mm-hmm.
Not just social media, but other all sorts of
Oh,
forms
yeah.
of media and otherwise.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Social media was just what came to my mind thinking about that. But you're right. There's so many other things in my family, and we're not supposed to name drop, so I will not say anything bad about one specific member of my family.
I wonder who it is.
But politics is a very like apparent conversation in my household. We were always talking about it, and I feel like that consumes my family, and not even just in my house, but my grandparents too. And I just like I have to back away because I don't. I feel like it's, and I'm not saying that politics are bad. I just think that in terms of what we're discussing, politics and social media and anything else is we become so fixated on that we lose sight of what actually matters, and getting to heaven is the goal, right? And we need good leaders in our lives to help us achieve that goal. Fixating our minds on such things like social media or music, even Taylor Swift, just politics, whatever it is, doesn't help us achieve that goal because these things are not leading us to heaven. We need good, strong leaders to help us get there, and that's priests. We have missionaries here, but that's also all of us as Christians, as Catholics. We are called to help each other get to heaven. And so to have to tell someone, put your phone away, like turn the social media off, for someone who's not ready for that, because that's like their whole world, that's their leader in a way, they don't want to just turn that away. They don't want to put it away because, well, I've never seen God, but I have this screen right here. Oh, I can see Donald Trump. He's on the TV. I could see Taylor Swift. She's singing on the stage, right? We can't see God, in that sense. I mean, we do in the Eucharist and whatever else. But we get so caught up in the world that we lose sight. And the point I'm trying to make here is we are all called to be leaders. And where does that start? Right here in this room, wherever you're listening, it starts with us. We have to go forth. I'm sorry, rant is over.
That's good. That's good.
Anyway, I tend to get on a soapbox and then I just say things and my mind goes all kind of crazy. Anyway, what role does prayer have in your approach to leadership? How does prayer help us lead?
I'm going to quote Miss T, who is the leader of the diocesan core team. The leader. What would you call her? The director.
The director. The leader. She's the leader.
She always says you can't give what you do not have. And so if your alignment is if the goal you're trying to align them to is communion with God, you can't give people communion with God if you don't commune with God.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
I wrote down in my notes exactly what Dallas said. So
that's crazy. That was good.
That quote, I think of that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kid you not, that's another thing that had nothing to do with, I guess, leadership.
Wow.
Like leadership skills, but it was just, I don't know, from the moment I heard her say that the first time, that's always something that I've thought of often, is that you just can't give what you don't have.
And it goes back to like what we were talking about earlier, because they catch you right off the bat. If they know you're not where you're supposed to be, they know immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so you just have to be prayerful and always try your best.
Right. And as I get older, I realize the importance of like truly keeping Christ the center of your not only your life but of your day, like just taking it one small step at a time, just like waking up and being like, I intentionally want to keep Christ the center of my day today, and what that looks like. And it's like I don't know, as I've gotten older, I've realized like the importance and the power of prayer. But I really probably wouldn't have been as intentional with it if I wouldn't have been put in situations where I was like working a retreat or working a rally, running off of 2 hours of sleep and a Red Bull, and being put in situations where I'm like, I physically don't know what I can give right now, but spiritually, like I know I have a lot to give, and I only know that I can do that with God. So it really is crazy what you can achieve when you're sorry, I just got so distracted by Kate sipping water.
It's on the other hand of you can't give what you don't have. That doesn't mean that you are barred from trying to give.
Right.
That just means don't give what doesn't belong to you. Give in every way that you can, but it doesn't necessarily, like, not all things are for you.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about what Dallas said. I do not know Miss T, so I've never heard that. I've met Miss T, I think maybe, let me think about this, 6 times.
Such an odd.
Y'all got a good memory.
Thank you. I've met her 6 times, and each time was great, and I've had some good conversations with her. She definitely doesn't remember me, but that's okay. She works with a lot of people.
Bet she does.
Yeah, I bet she does.
Yeah, I don't know what you said before I move on, because it was really good and beautiful, and I sat here the whole time Cece was talking, just in awe. You said, what was it about the communion?
Oh, it was your goal. So if, as we established, being a leader is trying to align someone or align others with a goal, right?
Mhm.
If your goal is to have others be in communion with God, you have to be in communication with God.
Yeah.
Right.
That when you said that earlier, I was like, whoa, that was really powerful. So anyway, I just wanted you to repeat that because I thought it was cool. Moving along, would you guys like to share any experiences that you have, like with leadership, personal? So I have some, but this is not about me. This is about you guys. Maybe I'll share mine later. But
No, go for it, dude.
well, Kate,
Y'all first.
go for it. Yeah.
No, you
I
go.
remember one specific, I think it was either a rally or a retreat, and one of our friends gave a talk about like reverence and communion. And he actually left before we even went to mass, but we went to mass and almost every single middle schooler got down on their knees to receive communion.
Yeah.
And I think that just made me realize that like they watch everything we do. Like they look up to us even when we don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
that is a good example of like an immediate measurable effect. Like that's an example of good leadership where it's like it doesn't take you know it doesn't take a very long time for you to be able to affect people in a way where they take action. There's 1,000 little things that you do every day that affect the actions that others take, and that's a scary thing to think about.
Right.
Right. I was just thinking like that could also be very bad.
Yeah, that's a super scary thing to think about. Is like, oh, how am I affecting everybody else around me? So that's why it's always important to live intentionally and and understand that you don't understand the effects that you're having on your environment, which is that goes back to what we were talking about earlier with culture. You know, the actions that you take affect the environment, and that environment is that more or less inviting than what the general world has to offer.
I've even noticed it in my little brothers. Like there was one time I went to mass and I didn't receive communion because I knew I needed to go to confession, but I didn't go. And I remember after mass, they were like, well, why didn't you go? And so like they notice everything, even when you don't think they're looking. And so like you just have to realize that like, oh, I actually like everything I do, everything I do matters.
Right. You have anything to share?
I had something earlier. I can't remember it now.
So now we get to talk about me.
Oh my gosh.
Earlier I mentioned that I had the opportunity to join core team, and I said no. Nah. I was in Lake Arthur doing my thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, we had just had our youth director for the parish leave. She had a child and she lived kind of far, and she just had to be gone. And in the time that we didn't have anybody, our priest, Father J. Alexius, and we kind of just talked, and I don't really know how it happened. I was very young, but I just kind of assumed the role. Just like for just the time being. I'm not saying that I was a smart cookie or whatever, and I knew everything about theology, and I had any right to be a youth.
Essentially, he was super underqualified.
I was preaching to kids my age at the time. I mean, this was several years ago.
How old were you?
15, 16.
Wow.
So I was in high school, and I would teach confirmation class. I taught a lot of CCD classes. I did this one, I was going to say sermon, but I guess I gave one talk on social media, going back to that, and I listed at the time like the top 8 social media platforms and the dangers of them. And I saw a lot of change after that in the people that I was essentially preaching to, right? The people that I was giving this talk to it wasn't just middle schoolers, but it was high schoolers, people my age and older. And I saw a lot of change in that, in the way that they approached social media, like Facebook or Instagram. Snapchat is always a bad one. I hate Snapchat, but I got a lot of good feedback from that. And I'm not saying all of this to like kind of toot my own horn, but the point I'm getting across is if you know something can be bad, like why would you not try to help others get out of that habit? And it's not just social media, like I said. It could be something like a pornography addiction or something like a swearing addiction. Whatever the case may be, if you know something's bad and it's hurting their souls, we need to do our duties as Christians and help these people out of it. Now, they have to be willing to accept what you have to offer. You can't go in there and pry and make anybody do anything.
Right.
They have to be willing, but you also, as a leader, have to be willing.
You also got to take the log out of your own eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Practice what you preach. You can't, I can't tell people that, oh, Facebook is bad because of this, and this, and then get on Facebook and do whatever I want to do. Right? Practice what you preach.
Do people go on Facebook anymore?
I have no idea. I'll go on
Are
Facebook
you
Marketplace
on Facebook?
sometimes. Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, Marketplace
like,
count.
No, Facebook Marketplace is the greatest thing ever. Okay. I shouldn't say that here, but if I'm bored, if I'm not doing anything, I'll get on there and just be like, okay, what kind of boats are in the what is available to buy that I cannot purchase?
Yeah, exactly. Let me look at a bunch of stuff I will never afford.
Right, exactly.
Well, I remember what I was going to say now. I was just going to say how I'm going to go back. I know I talk about my summer camp on this podcast all the time, but I'm going to go back and talk about it again because
That's
it just
okay.
Was,
Go for, no, nothing.
Okay, whatever. Just because it was so fruitful for so many different reasons. But I mean, you're given a cabin full of like 6 or 7
Kate.
Sorry.
I specifically told you not to bang the table. It's okay.
She's a passionate person.
I forgive you. She's also ginger.
Oh.
Anyway, continue.
But I was saying that like you just like you're given a cabin full of like 6 or 7 girls, and there's no separation from like your work life and your home life. I say with quotation marks. And so that was like the ultimate test of leadership, I felt like, in a way, because you're being watched 24/7. Like there's not a moment where you can really like step outside, be like, oh, like they're your responsibility. It's like all of a sudden you're 19 years old and you have 6 kids. Like you have 6 kids who are all 7 years old, and you're just given the responsibility of them, and they're watching you like a hawk. And at first it was very humbling because it's like, especially for the first half of the summer, I had very young kids. And so they were just like sponges, like everything I would say and do. I was literally talking to one of my co-counselors about my personal life, and they had overheard it, and they talked about it for the rest of the summer. And like, I mean, good thing it wasn't bad, but it just is funny because it's like they're so attentive. And then for the second half of the summer, I had 16 and 17-year-olds. And I thought, oh man, like maybe I'll get some slack with them. But no, like they are watching you. And you don't have your phone. So I feel like that's even, I don't know, I had such a really good, beautiful opportunity to witness to these girls and to be a good example of leadership to them, because it's like every moment that you shared with them could like had the opportunity to be intentional because there were no distractions. Like it was just you, a bunch of girls in the mountains, like living your best life. But yeah, so I just feel like I learned so many things about leadership this past summer, but overall I learned that sometimes being a leader, like one of my favorite things about. Actually, I'm gonna die. So.
And the sentence is
Yeah.
over.
I was just gonna say that, like, I don't know, they taught me so many things that I didn't get through like a lecture or I didn't get through a camp or a retreat, but just so many things of like having them, in a sense, humble me that taught me to be a leader. Not in like a, oh, I'm humiliated, but just the fact that I was like brought down to their level and been like, oh, yeah, I don't know.
I'm here in the trenches with you. No phone, no nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like, but also showing them how beautiful that can be. Like, to them, at first, it definitely was the trenches, especially because I had, like, you know, those 16, 17-year-olds who are like, I just want to talk to my boyfriend. Like, no, girl, like, go camping.
You're in the mountains.
Yeah, you're literally in the, yeah, no. But, yeah, just like getting to be that example for them and knowing that what they actually were noticing you because they didn't have the distractions was really intimidating, but also really awesome. But anyways, I talked for way loop.
Don't do
We
that.
are all wearing headphones.
Now I'm gonna have to cut that all out because you screamed at
It's
me.
gonna be a random cut.
Oh my god,
Uh,
killing me. It's
I,
okay. The people downstairs are also being loud too.
yeah.
I texted Jarrett and said shut up, but it didn't work. Anyway, keep going.
I also I haven't run it for 2 years, but I've also had the pleasure of running a summer camp. For me, it was a boys' summer camp, very and like in the hot of Louisiana,
Right.
very different vibes
Yeah.
from a mountain oasis. It's called Camp Bocam. If you're looking for a place to send your kid for a week during the summer, absolutely look that up. It's called Camp
Dallas will be
Argentus.
there. Dallas will be there.
I'm probably not. It's
JK.
but I may. But yeah, that's actually how it all loops back around. That's actually how I got into core team. Was I was staffing a camp at Bocam, and uh, a friend of mine's sister was in um, core team at the time, and we were just on the phone in between camp sessions. So it was that wonderful time where there's no campers. It's that
Right.
2 days where you get to just relax.
Yeah.
And she just randomly asked, like, "Hey, you do camp stuff, you staff things.
Sure.
I'm gonna nominate you for core team," which I don't think they do nominations anymore.
They do.
Oh, they do.
At
Okay.
CLI.
Oh, right, they do them at CLI now.
Mm.
But yeah, that's how I got in there. But it is, I totally agree. Such a humbling experience to lead, especially when you're leading youth, because like you're the person, I guess in quotes, in charge, right?
Yeah.
They're looking to you constantly, and you find out very quickly where you are lacking.
And they'll let you know.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it's I think that is also an important aspect of leadership, is being able to be humbled. Like, you have to be humbled constantly, for in order to get properly aligned others. You have to figure out ways where you're not aligned.
Where you lack.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point too. Kate.
Yeah.
How did you become a part of core team? I know their stories.
Where
I don't
did
know
you
yours.
come
from?
Why are you here?
I
Why
joined
do
my
we know
sophomore
you?
year. I had no idea what this was. And I got a letter in the mail, and my mom was like, "You're going to do it." And I was like, "No, I'm not doing it. I don't know anyone. I'm not going to talk to anyone. I'm not doing it." And so she's like, "Well, you're going to call," it was the lady who was leading ministry at our church at the time. She's like, "You're going to call her and you're going to tell her you're not doing it." And so the day before formation, I was like, well, I can't do that. Like, that's embarrassing. I don't want to do that. So, and it was COVID year.
Phone call anxiety for the win.
Yeah, for sure. It was COVID year, so it was not overnight. So she's like, well, just go for the first day. If you hate it, don't go back. And I went, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely not coming back tomorrow. Like, I went in thinking I'm not coming back. And then there was a talk that Miss T actually gave, and she's like, you are definitely, like, you're meant to be here. Like, I don't know who I'm talking to, but you are meant to be here. So I was like, okay. And so, yeah, I haven't stopped.
Yeah, she still works. She's still working retreats, still working for Miss T.
You joined during COVID year?
Yeah.
That's a bizarre time.
Where was
to
that
join.
formation retreat at?
Camp Carroll. It was our first, like, the first event at Camp Carroll.
Zealous Love.
That was DYC.
It was that year.
That was the DYC.
Yeah,
that was
the
DYC.
Ah, right.
But our formation
Right.
retreat was like 4 days. Like, we just went back and forth.
But was that, or, like, that's,
Hey, there's a table there.
okay. That same year, the DYC, the Christmas Formation Retreat, was that when Aaron came into the picture?
I think it was the
At
next
Philip
year.
Mary? Or was that the next year?
I want to say he joined our junior year.
You're
You
probably
were there
right.
before Aaron?
I was there before Aaron.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, Aaron came in so late to the picture.
Do the
Interesting.
podcast listeners know who Aaron is?
Aaron Bland. We spoke about him before.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, cool.
Back on episode 3.
He works in
Probably,
the
yeah.
building that we are currently sitting in.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's supposed to.
Not currently. Well, his leg
He
is
broke,
broken right
he broke
now,
his
but-
leg. He's supposed to clean my
Listen to me.
office here, but it's,
Oh my gosh.
there's trash all over the place. Aaron, if
Yeah,
you're
I
listening,
just-
broken leg
So you
up
need to
the
come back.
stairs and clean my office.
all right? Terrible.
I can't, I'm getting my years mixed up.
When did you join?
My sophomore year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, I
Interesting.
went in thinking all these people are all friends and they're not going to want to add
Well,
another
half
person
of
into
core
their
team was
friend
my family.
group. Right.
So I had that, but besides that, like I knew like Thomas had some buddies that were in there, and then obviously like my bajillion cousins, and then like Kristen. That's how I know Kristen
Mhm.
and Emmy
Hmm.
and yeah, and all those lovely people. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's other people too that I'm not even.
Man, y'all are so good with dates.
What are you looking at?
The tag on your belt.
I know, I don't know how to
I joined
read.
my freshman year, and so I knew absolutely nobody. And then a bunch of my other friends joined like the next year. But
I thought everyone joined freshman year.
I think it was just
no.
MSU, bro.
yeah, it was
Oh.
it was everyone from Vinton,
Good job.
which is where I'm from.
Everyone in our
Mm.
class knew each other, though.
Yeah, I know our class.
That's
I will
probably why I
never
thought that.
like. I will never get over like just how epic our class was.
We were
Yeah.
solid.
So
Oh my
good.
gosh.
Man, would have been better if I was there.
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Wow. Harsh.
That's great.
Okay, guys. Well, we've been recording for long enough.
Alright.
Are there any final remarks? Not Cece?
Go out there and be leaders, however you can.
Do it out of love. That's where it all comes from.
So, today, the day you're hearing this, it's November 1st,
Which is a
Ho-
holy day.
hopefully.
of
which is a holy day of obligation.
Oh, yeah, go to
So,
Mass.
you should go to Mass. But
Yes.
also, for every day in November, I think that you all, and I'm including the people in this room, pick someone in your life and just someone different each day. Every day of November. This is what, 30 days?
Yep.
Mhm.
And just pray for them. Go scroll through your contacts, find a random person, and just pray for them. Take 5 minutes out of your day. You know, someone random. Maybe a family member you haven't seen in a while, or a friend that, you know, you've grown distant with. And just show yourself leadership, right? We've been talking about how we can show others leadership. but you take the initiative. You pray for people in your life and also pray for yourself and become your own leader, right? Take hold of your faith and of your prayer life and let that guide or lead you to a good, authentic relationship with God that you can harness and use to help others grow and find their own authentic relationship with God. Thank you, Kate and Dallas, for coming on the show.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
It's been great, lots of fun. Cece keeps bumping the table. That's okay.
It's because you moved my chair so close.
I didn't touch your chair. Anyway,
Bye.
yep. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Outro.